Hey, good morning, everybody. Thursday morning's devotion. Hope you're in for a fantastic day. We're enjoying the rain here in Port Shepstone. The farmers are all smiling, as are we. It always brings a great relief and cools things down, although we've had some really cool weather recently. But it's raining really nice and hard, so this is awesome. We're into the book of Exodus. We're in chapter 3 right now, and we're talking about the test that Moses had to undergo. One of the first tests that he had to go through was the test of his identity, where he knew that he was not who the Egyptians were. He had to make a stand against that. And as a result, that kind of got him into a bit of trouble. He ended up in the wilderness as a shepherd for 40 years, wandering around and around, until one day God spoke to him at the burning bush. It took 40 years of working for his father-in-law, being humbled to the point that he just thought that he had nothing really to offer God, which you will see today. But he declared himself to be a nobody. Apparently, God loves nobodies. God is able to use people. In fact, he can't use you unless you come to that point where you recognize that everything that you have, everything that you need is going to be found in God and God alone. And Moses got to that point when he realized, I have nothing to offer. I am a humble person. He knew that in his spirit. God saw that, and it was time now for God to move. But we said yesterday that it took 40 years to get Egypt out of Moses. That was the first test of getting Egypt out of him. The second test that Moses had to go through was the victim's mentality test. Because once he was so humble, now all of a sudden he decided to play the victim. And God came to him at the burning bush and said, Moses, I have something for you to do. Moses knew exactly who he was talking to. He was face down. He knew he was on holy ground. And as he conversed with God and God laid before him God's plan, Moses began to back off and say, God, you got the wrong dude. You got the wrong man. Yes, this is not going to work. I will never be able to do what you are asking me to do. And he began to play the victim. People, God will never use you until you get rid of the victim's mentality. If you come with your excuses, Moses had better excuses than yours. Here, I'm a wanted man in Egypt. I can't go back there. They're not going to listen to me, God. You've certainly got the wrong person. God, I stutter. I can't speak. I'm not very eloquent. And you can't possibly use somebody like that. And it says this. It says that God actually got angry with Moses and said, Moses, don't you know who put that tongue in your head? Don't you know that if I'm able to do that, I can put the words in your mouth as well? And Moses had to get over his victim's mentality before God was able to use him. Now we come with all sorts of excuses, don't we? You know, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too poor, I don't have the influence. And when God gives us stuff to do, I wonder if he doesn't sometimes walk away a bit disappointed as well, when we come to him with all sorts of lame excuses as to why we can't participate in the ministry, as to why we can't do what we just know that he's called us to do. And God walks away disappointed, if not, according to Moses' story, somewhat angry. So I want you just to reflect on that today, to think that maybe God has asked you to do something in the past and you've come with all sorts of lame excuses. Maybe God is wanting you to do something even now and you're presenting to him the face of a victim's mentality. God was gracious to Moses because he gave him a couple of tests. And he said to Moses, Moses, what's that in your hand? He said, it's my staff. God said, throw it on the ground. And it became a snake. Moses was impressed, but he still wasn't convinced. And so he said, well, God, that's quite impressive, but I still got lots of excuses. And then God said, well, stick your hand inside your shirt and pull it out again. And his hand was full of leprosy. It was ugly. And God said, put it back in your shirt. And Moses would have put it back in his shirt, pulled it out, and there it was, whole again. God was very kind, very compassionate, and allowed Moses to talk his way through the experience of moving out of a victim's mentality. You know what, people? It's okay to ask God for some little signs along the way, to show me that you really are, to show me that you are there. Gideon did the same thing, did he not, when he went for his test? If you are believing that God is calling you to something bigger than where you're at the moment, it's okay to say, God, I know you would love for me to act in blind faith, but God, would you mind just giving me a few signs along the way? Throw down your rod, open your mouth and speak, and see if God won't come to the fore and give you exactly what you need. You're allowed to do that. It's almost like a test of God. And I'm going to talk more about that tomorrow. But have a great day, guys. Let's respond to what God has called us to. Let's ask Him if He can just confirm it, if that's okay, because of our humanness. We sometimes need that, and God will do that. He'll send you a Bible verse. He'll send you a situation. He'll send you something if you're aware. But for goodness sake, you've got to get out of the victim's mentality. God can never use you until you do that. Have a fantastic day. We'll see you tomorrow.